The truth about the phone call, Jeanette's necklace, and the snow globe are revealed. So let's break down episode 9 of Cruel Summer and find out just what happened. What's going on, you lovely people? Lisa here, and it is time again to talk about Cruel Summer. And man, did a lot happen in this episode. But before I go any further, just a little bit of a content warning that this episode deals heavily with grooming. Another thing, sorry if I sound really tired or if my voice starts to kind of go, because I actually recorded this entire video, put it into my editor program, and realized I did not plug in the microphone like an idiot. So this is the second time around, so apologies if my voice gets a little dry or whatever. Moving on to what you actually care about. So this episode, we are back to Kate's point of view, and we get to see what life was like for her in Martin Harris's home up until the point he puts her in the basement. And as a viewer, after this episode, you may be left leaning a little more towards Team Jeanette, or maybe more towards the middle after you find out what goes on. The events of this episode take place from the fall to Christmas in 1993, and then in the fall of 1994 as we see Kate talking to her therapist. We actually do not visit 1995 in this episode. So in 1994, Kate's therapist explains what grooming is, and we see in 1993 that pretty much Martin has become a pro at it, unfortunately. The night Kate showed up to his house, he listened to her, she confided in him, and he posed as kind of a savior of sorts, whisking her away from her home life that she was so tired of. Now, on day 2, Kate wakes up and goes wandering around, even going into the basement, which is empty still. She does pause to look at herself in those mirrors, so it obviously is still kind of hinting at maybe there's something to do with these mirrors, all those theories, or maybe it's just something to distract us and throw us off. I'm also still wondering about that door that's next to those mirrors. Does it lead to another room? Does it lead outside? Who knows? Anyway, we do know from the previous episode that on this day, after Kate shows up at Martin's house, she doesn't go to school. We saw from the videotape Mallory made that Kate was very much still in the main part of the house, so we have to wonder why on earth Kate just didn't leave and go home, or why she didn't go to school. Well, as we know, Kate tells her therapist she wasn't always locked in the basement, and we see that Martin asks her that morning if she can handle the walk to school on her own, and that once they get to school, she has to call him Mr. Harris. He says they do have this connection, but they gotta stay professional at school. He then walks out the door, and we see that sprinkler incident happen, and we all wondered last week if Mallory happened to see Kate in the window, but from this episode, it seems pretty clear that she didn't. So while Mallory gave off some shady vibes, right now she looks like she doesn't really know anything more than we do. I honestly don't think she's involved in anything. I think she's just a character who's there to kind of make you think something else is going on. Anyway, as Kate enjoys her day off school, she explores the house and lives out what kind of is probably in her head a fantasy romance with an older guy. She tries on his shirt, smells his stuff, and all kinds of things. And then she tries to be romantic by making a frozen pizza for dinner, which, heads up, if you ever end up with me, that's also probably what you would get for dinner. But the thing is, I do know how to cook a frozen pizza. Kate does not, ends up burning it and setting off the smoke alarm right as Martin comes home. And well, he's actually kind of mad. He asks why she wasn't in school and what her excuse is, because obviously her mom came to school and he had to lie. And well, Kate just says that she didn't know how to explain where she went to her friends or anything, and that she's a really bad liar, so she thought maybe he could help her craft her lie, so she was waiting for him to get home that day. He tells her, though, that she needs to go home right now, but Kate says she's not going. So yes, at this point, Kate could have easily left. Martin is not holding her against her will. There's still the ability for her to lie and say she was at a friend's house or whatever, talk her way out of it, because she was only gone maybe 24 hours. You know, Martin's just like, go home, I don't want to get in trouble. But his attitude changes, something spooks him, and that's when the police call him to inform him that Kate is now officially a missing person. And now Kate's kind of changed tune and says, well, now I gotta go home and fix this. But Martin, unfortunately, is like, no, you can't, because he knows he'll be called into question for lying to Joy about where Kate was, and now it's all getting out of hand. He's getting anxious, and to calm himself, he pours 2 glasses of whiskey. We've seen that he likes to drink to kind of ease his urges. Kate suggests that they then calm down and play a game. We see them play kind of a PG version of Never Have I Ever. There's some flirting. It's very awkward to watch. However, I don't think there's any really big reveals here other than the fact that Kate likes him and that he once traveled to Key West for a girl or something. We then skip ahead though to day 21 where Martin and Kate are playing house. It seems like they're living happily ever after in their own bubble. And he's quickly jolted back to reality when he sees Kate's picture on the news. So yes, another thing to just kind of get into the back of his mind. Moving on to day 30, Kate asks Martin to skip work and they discuss traveling and picking a place to go that would be safe once she turns 18. Day 34 comes their real first scare of almost getting caught. You see, the doorbell rings and Martin pushes Kate into a closet, and at that door is none other than Jeanette's dad, Greg. He's gotten a flat tire and wants to use the phone, and Martin's kind of like sweating and trying to lead Greg to a different room so he doesn't see what's in the living room, but he's a little too late. Greg uses that phone, notices the travel magazines, but brushes it off to being part of the theme of a school dance or something like that, and he does notice the 2 coffee cups, but that's when he's kind of like, oh, geez, hope I'm not intruding on some romantic morning after or something. Martin just claims both cups as his, even though you could have said, yeah, I had a girl over, or yeah, someone's in town, a family member, anything, but you know, he's panicking, but it doesn't seem like Greg's picking up on any of that. Greg just makes his call to Cindy and leaves, but Martin continues to grow more paranoid and somehow just has some extra curtain rods and hangers. Maybe he never got up to putting them up, but wouldn't you think he would have put them up a long time ago? Anyway, he puts up these curtains and stuff to block the front window. So not shady at all. Kate, though, gets her first taste of another side of Martin, as she didn't like being shoved in a closet, so she can see that if he gets panicked or backed into a corner, he can turn into somebody else. All that doesn't matter, though, and we skip ahead to Halloween. It seems like things are still good between Kate and Martin. The cops aren't coming around school as much, and everyone just pretty much thinks Kate ran away. Kate, though, it is finally starting to set into her mind that things maybe aren't right, that they can't live in this bubble forever. We then hear her therapist in 1994 ask Kate why she stayed and didn't walk out that door. Obviously, we know Kate had many opportunities. As Martin didn't lock her in, he went to school, but Kate still stayed. There was that little bit of trust there, a lot of trust there. But Kate does say Martin made it very clear she had to choose between him and the outside world. It was this unspoken rule, and she knew it was wrong, but she never questioned it. So now you can see that by Halloween, the full-on Stockholm Syndrome grooming has reached its peak, and now she might be too scared to leave. Or it's that she cares more about Martin getting in trouble if she leaves, like what those consequences are for her on other people, not necessarily for her. Then we get to Christmas Eve, and it's clear that Kate is no longer happy. She's missing the outside world, her friends, everything, other people. I mean, she's a teenager. To be locked inside of the house for that long, not being able to talk to anybody else, see anybody else, it sucks. And a lot of us know that because we lived through 2020. Obviously, we were not in this kind of a situation, but even so, being cooped up for that long, not being able to go anywhere, it's not easy. It takes a mental toll on you, and we're seeing that with Kate. Martin just tries to put her at ease, but also kind of, I don't think, wants to hear it, so he goes to the mall to run some errands. And if I was Kate, this would be the time I would have bolted. But I do know for her, it's not that easy, but I would have just bolted, made up something, and been like, I ran away for a time, I'm back, nothing happened, let's move on. But yeah, he's got this hold on her, she's staying put. Now when Martin gets to the mall, he has another scare, because as he starts walking up to the mall, a bunch of cops pull up and rush towards him, and he panics thinking, oh man, this is it. He's got his hands up like this, he's like, they're coming for me, someone ratted me out, maybe Kate ran away out of his house. Fortunately for him, but unfortunately for us, they run past him, and yeah, he hasn't been caught yet, but it's definitely adding to his growing paranoia. Also at the mall, though, is Jeanette, who sees Martin enter, so she thinks this would be a prime time to get her quick rush of breaking into his house and stealing stuff, because we're now at Christmas. The last time we saw her do this was a long time ago. Like, her fight with Mallory was in August. It doesn't seem like she's been back to the house since then, because she probably would have seen Kate at some point before that. So I think she's feeling like maybe she needs that rush again. She's been missing on it. So we see her head over to Martin's house. We also see that Jeanette has gotten rid of her glasses. Last episode, she got rid of the braces. Now she's got rid of glasses, but we still haven't seen her full popular makeover yet. Now, as Jeanette heads to Martin's house, we see Kate come downstairs and there's an old movie playing on the TV, and that snow globe we saw that Mallory had in the last episode is sitting on top of the TV. Kate picks up the phone, gets Jamie's answering machine, and I guess caller ID wasn't as big of a thing at this point because she definitely did not star 67 that number, so if there was a caller ID, you'd think they'd be able to trace that back to the fact that Kate was at Martin's house, but that hasn't been a thing yet. Now, as Kate was on the phone, listening to the answering machine, she picks up the snow globe and starts to turn it, playing the music. So those of you who guessed last episode that the music in the call is why Jeanette freaked out, you were right. Now, Kate doesn't say anything in the message, just breathes heavily, and then hears Jeanette opening the door. So she suddenly becomes the Flash, hangs up, turns off the TV, and runs upstairs in a matter of like seconds, and hides, peeking around the corner out of the shadows so she can kind of see who is there. Jeanette walks in, kind of beelines it for the living room, sees that snow globe, and grabs it. It seems like she may try to look around a little more, but then Kate tries to go into a room upstairs and trips on something, making a noise, catching Jeanette off guard and making her freak out. So she goes to run out the door, but before she does, she pauses to look up the stairs. Now, we don't see her actual point of view, what her eyes are seeing. So we don't know fully if she ever saw Kate. We just see her look, run out the door. The next shot shows Kate kind of coming out from around the corner and the shadows and looking out into the hallway. So, yeah, right now, it's like, okay, maybe Jeanette really didn't see Kate. She just looked up to see if there was anything there because she heard a noise, didn't see anything, and ran. You know, either way, there's still some doubt on both sides of what we saw unless we actually see their direct, eye line. Anyway, Kate comes downstairs and finds Jeanette's necklace on the ground, and that's how she got it. And there's one thing here, though, is that the shot before Jeanette runs out when she looks up the stairs, her necklace seems pretty firm around her neck, and then all of a sudden she's out the door and it's on the ground. So I guess we're just going to have to suspend belief on this one about how it came loose and fell to the ground. But either way, that is how Kate got Jeanette's necklace that she presented to the cops. Yeah, we do know that Jeanette lied about the necklace, being like, I threw it out in the trash, or she lost it, right? I guess losing it isn't really a lie, but either way, that's how Kate got the necklace. Alright, so in 1994, Kate's therapist asks her why she didn't tell Martin about Jeanette and the necklace, and for Kate, it seems like a power thing. She says she liked having something over Martin, and the therapist also mentions that maybe Kate had some level of hope that Jeanette would say something, and maybe that secret was like her little bit to cling on to, that maybe a rescue is coming. Back in 93, on Christmas Eve, Martin comes home and, well, they go to sleep, and Kate wakes up in the middle of the night, and it's revealed that she actually did leave the house willfully once. She left and went to her parents' house that night, where she saw them through the window laughing, and, well, she kind of got upset and ran back to Martin's. For her, it seemed like Christmas Eve, her parents were laughing, they had moved on, they didn't miss her. Unfortunately, she only saw a snippet of what was really going on, because if she knew what was going on, she probably would have gone inside and stayed home, and we would not have had this thing to carry out with Martin and her going down in the basement. Because little did she know that while her parents were laughing in that little split moment in time, they were actually sharing memories of Kate and Christmas and all of that, and they were laughing but also hysterically crying. They're not doing well. But seeing that tiny sliver of laughter was enough to drive Kate back into Martin's arms and make that wish of leaving the bubble not look so great. So we see Kate sneak back into bed as Martin is asleep, or so she thinks, because he's creepy and you know he knows more than we think. Then, on Christmas Day, we finally see Kate in that red dress that we've seen before, which kind of indicated her first time down in the basement. Martin notices that Kate seems different. She seems better, so he asks for the reason and then drops the bomb, asking if she feels guilty for sneaking out of the house. And he asks her why she snuck out of the house. And this is the day that Kate tells the therapist it was the first time she was truly scared of Martin. And the therapist chalks it up to him realizing that he's running out of tools and ways to manipulate Kate to make her stay in that house. He sees she's pulling away. Well, back on Christmas Day, 93, we see Martin demand to know where Kate went. She tries to explain that she wasn't caught. They have a big fight, and he essentially says she can't go outside again until she's 18. And that's when Kate says something that is the last straw for Martin.
That sounds a lot like...
Like what? Like I'm your dad?
No. Sounds a lot like you're my kidnapper.
And while she begs to go, says she won't tell about him, and she asks where her suitcase is. And Martin says it's in the basement. And for a split second, you're like, oh, is he really gonna let her go? And then it's like, oh, no, wait, everyone is screaming at the TV right now saying, don't go down in the basement, Kate, because we know what's going to happen. Unfortunately, Kate goes down in that basement and she gets locked down there, and then Martin puts on loud music to drown out her screams. And well, that's the events of this episode and how Kate ends up in the basement. Someone did ask how Martin is down in the basement and it's also locked as he's inside, and it seems like the keyhole does have a key on both sides, so it's not like a one-sided thing. But yeah, so those are the big reveals of this episode, and this episode was a pretty hard one to watch. It's not easy to see someone go down that path, to see that happen. So what it seems like from this episode, Jeanette did not see Kate at all. At least that's the side I'm leaning more towards. I think she heard a noise, glanced up, and ran. Unless we see exactly what's coming out of her eyes, the exact camera view, I'm gonna think it's just a misunderstanding. Kate just assumes that she saw her, and Jeanette was like, no, I didn't see you. Now, as far as, what Kate's done, it definitely seems like Kate wanted someone else to blame for her trauma since Martin's now dead. Blaming Jeanette for stealing her whole life, it was kind of an easy thing to do. And yeah, it kind of shifts the like meter a little bit away from Kate, even though you have to have some sympathy for what she went through. But it doesn't seem like Kate also has any remorse for what she did to Jeanette's image. Granted, I guess Jeanette hasn't helped her own case much because she's told a bunch of lies and acted kind of shady. But yeah, now she's starting to look a little more like the innocent one when it comes to the misunderstandings here. But also, my brain is still going back to the basement door down there and what it leads to. I mean, if Martin is at school and I was Kate, I would start kicking, scratching, tackling that door any way I could. She went down there all dressed up. She probably has bobby pins or something in her hair. Would she have ever tried to pick the lock? I mean, I guess I can't fault her because now Martin's a little more scary and she's kind of like wondering what would happen. She's also worried more about what happened to him, it seems like. But after a while, I know I'd be trying. If he leaves cans down there, I'd be throwing them at the window. I'd be doing whatever. But I do want to know if that door in the basement by the mirrors leads to the outside or to another room, because that's a big basement for a huge house, and I'm probably just like putting all my focus on something that doesn't even matter in this show. Now, with the snow globe, Jeanette finding it and Mallory now having it, it seems like the theory of, Jeanette trying to say she's sorry by stealing something and giving it to Mallory is making a little more sense. However, this is many months after that fight from the last episode. That was like August. This is now December. So what prompts her to want to give that to Mallory, or why? Maybe Mallory just swiped it from her, but it seems like they weren't friends, so there's still some time period missing there. And I also want to see when the heck Jeanette makes her transition to popular. We only have one episode left. I feel like that's got to be an important part of the story to see just when she took over Kate's life and how. I guess it kind of like ruins my theory about Jeanette seeing Kate in the house and them actually becoming friends and trading lives and it becoming something else. I guess I gotta throw that out. I rambled about that a lot in the last two videos I made, so whoops, throw it out. Anyway, there's still a lot to wrap up in the final episode, including who the heck or what Annabelle is, so let's check out the promo.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I'm here to expose the truth.
I know you saw me, and I know I didn't.
You've been sneaking into that house this entire time?
I don't know the whole story, but I know that you're lucky that there's some serious secrets buried with Martin Harris. Things escalated to a really dark place.
You asked me once how this ends. This is Annabelle.
Alright, so that's a good promo. We finally get to see Kate and Jeanette face off in court, where obviously both have held on to a lot of lies that have snowballed, and it might be hard for either to truly recover from them. We see Kate and Jeanette face to face, which I'm guessing is probably not allowed. So how that happened, I don't know. But, Kate still thinks Jeanette saw her, and Jeanette's saying she didn't. And you can't really know who to believe at this point when it comes to that. That's going to be very hard to prove. It's a she said, but that really is, because one believes one thing, one believes the other. There's no one else around. What can you do? We also get the snow globe kind of interaction. We see Mallory yelling at Jeanette for sneaking into the house. She's kind of like, you've been in there so many times. Why didn't you tell me? This also seems to be in 1993, the same Christmas night or Christmas Eve night, judging off of, the lighting of this scene, as well as the shirt that Jeanette's wearing, as well as the dolls still on the shelf. So what prompted Mallory to even come over? Did Jeanette call her over and offer the snow globe? Mallory is like, where did you get this? And then yells at Jeanette for lying, and in anger just kind of grabs the snow globe and runs off. We don't know yet. Somehow, though, there's still a fight there. And also, what it proves, though, is that even if Jeanette lied at this point in 93 with Mallory in December, Mallory probably is a smart girl. She knows that Jeanette's been in Martin's house multiple times, including Christmas time. That is something she knows in 94 and 95 when she is friends with Kate. So why is Mallory holding on to that? If Mallory hates Jeanette so much, why wouldn't Mallory tell Kate that Jeanette was in the house so that she would have that piece of information on her side? That opens up a whole nother bunch of questions, and while I was thinking maybe Mallory is innocent, maybe she's not. What is Mallory doing here? I don't know. Guys. Another part of this promo here is Jeanette saying there's serious secrets buried with Martin. Also very intriguing because we know this to be true. Kate could say anything, and the only other person who knows truly what happened inside of that house is Martin, who is dead. So she could spin it however she wants, although I don't know how the law works. She did tell her therapist a lot of stuff, so is that available and admissible in court? I don't know, but having Martin dead means that there's some stuff that she could hold on to that she doesn't have to tell, that could make her look better. The most intriguing part of this promo, though, for me, is the end when you hear Martin say, "You asked me how this ends? This is Annabelle." And it's kind of like, what does that mean? There's a lot of theories on the internet when it comes to Annabelle. And, I've pondered over some of them. Y'all have left them in the comments. They're on Reddit. They're on Twitter. They're all over. So the main ones seem to be that Annabelle is just another part of Kate, either another personality or something she's made up to cope with the trauma, a reflection. Another theory is that maybe Kate got pregnant and Annabelle is the baby. I've seen some say that maybe this is a psychotype thing and Annabelle is someone from Martin's past that he dresses as or turns into. Maybe even Annabelle is the name of the other girl mentioned from the news that was at Martin's old school. Or could Annabelle be someone Martin knows who he thinks can help him cover all this up? Maybe someone like Angela? I don't know. That's probably far-fetched, but I feel like Angela just waltzed into town in 94, 95. We don't know much about her. She's obviously seems like a really great and nice person, but I feel like they want to mislead us by thinking someone's sketchy, but they're actually good, or someone's good, but they're actually sketchy. I still want to hold on to the fact that Angela is a good person, but you can't rule it out, right? I don't know. But it's also been revealed that Martin was killed in a police shootout. That was the first episode, I think, and it was the night that Kate was rescued. I think someone did comment on one of my videos, and I apologize for not being able to remember your username, but they said maybe Annabelle is the name of a gun. Now, we do know that Martin doesn't like guns. He mentioned that at the campfire trip thing, and attribute it to his dad dying and committing suicide or whatever. But maybe there's more to that story. Maybe Martin lied about that. Maybe he kept a gun of some sort. Someone also mentioned the gun in Jamie's glove box. Maybe that's connected. But could Annabelle actually be the name for an object or a weapon of some sort? Something else we gotta think about is we don't even know what led to Kate being rescued. All we know is that she was rescued and there was a shootout and Martin died. Some people thought that maybe Kate killed Martin, but right now I don't think that's the case. But we don't know how it all went down. What led to her being rescued? Did she manage to get out of Martin's clutches, up the basement and out, and managed to get to the police, and then the police came to Martin's house and that's where the shootout was? Or could there even be that possibility that Jeanette did leave an anonymous tip with the police or something about seeing Kate if she did see her, but didn't want to say her name because she didn't want to reveal she had been in that house and all the trouble she would get into? So maybe she could have been the good person here and helped Kate get rescued. We don't know. Somebody had to tip off the police somehow, so unless it was Kate herself, who on earth did it? There's still so many unanswered questions that need to be answered in this final episode. Mainly the Annabelle situation, and honestly, if it turns out to be the name of the weapon, I feel like I'm gonna kind of be disappointed. But then again, with one episode left, it can't be as complex as I think we're all making it out to be. But yeah, I think that's all I got right now. I am exhausted. I probably said more in my first take that I'm sad that I don't have to use, but whatever. You guys know what's up. Please let me know all your new theories and thoughts down in the comments below. Do you believe that Jeanette saw any glimpses of Kate, or is she telling the truth? Did she just see a shadowy figure, hear a noise? Who do you think, or what do you think Annabelle is, and what do you think is gonna be the result of this final episode? How will this show end, or at least this season? Let me know down in the comments, and after that, don't forget to check out my other videos right over here. Hit that subscribe button, that like button, because you don't want to miss any more of my recaps, interviews, or other things that I decide to throw up on this channel. As always, my name is Lisa. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. High five to you, and